Welcome back to the Stephen A. Show. Adam, how's it going? I know we're living some crazy times. We had coronavirus, now these protests. How's it for you in D.C.?
Yeah, it's going well actually. So we're far enough away from the excitement, but they put the 7 p.m. curfew on tonight, so not many people out and about. But I know just like a mile and a half away, a lot of stuff's going down. So yeah, it's been crazy days, crazy year. Who knows what's happening next?
And it's already June. That's crazy, right?
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine the beginning of this year was an impeachment, and that's like a forgotten memory almost at this point.
Yeah,
But
it is. Yeah.
yeah, here we are. So
Wow. Well, listen, I'll let you and Chike take it away with movie reviews.
sure thing. So I will kick it off, and the first thing I saw was a recent release called The Lovebirds, and this movie is a romantic comedy that stars Issa Rae and Kumail and Johnny, and it stars a couple who, after about 4 years, their relationships on the rocks, and they actually kind of break up on the car ride to a party. And while that happens, they hit a guy on a bicycle, and this guy gets into their car and proceeds to chase this person down and kill the person that was in the bicycle. So they're panicked because that person runs off, and it creates a situation where they have to figure out this murder because they think they're going to be the ones to blame for this incident all throughout the night. And it's kind of their adventures along the way. It reminds me a little bit of if Game Night, that movie from a couple years ago, was a romantic comedy in this sense. Overall, it's a typical Netflix movie, and I know it wasn't originally going to be on Netflix. It was a Paramount release, but the flow is a little stale. The comedy is not quite there. Issa Rae does a great job, but throughout the things you hear Kumail kind of just doing like a stand-up routine during the scenes, like when they're in the car and he's like, "Oh, what's the deal with this?" or things like that. So it felt like it had a good potential. The premise is interesting, but overall it kind of fell flat with me. So not an awful movie, but if you're expecting a lot of laughs, I didn't think it was there.
I thought it was a funny movie, but I did see, it was like, where is this movie going? But I will say this, for me, the ending makes up for everything you go through this movie. Like, I love the ending of how it all ended on that boat. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I will say, yeah, it does. Yeah, you get to a good, satisfying ending.
Right.
But yeah, I felt like
it was a lot going on. Going on. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm okay with like believing the silliness of it, but just you wish things would move a little faster. I think at some points.
But I do love Issa Rae, and I thought they have good chemistry. But I do agree with you what you're saying. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, and I haven't seen her in a lot of stuff.
A fun fact that both of them produced that movie.
So did they?
They had a big hand in what we saw.
Yeah.
So I think Issa's trying to find her footing in the motion picture realm. I think that she's going to get it together soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she does well in comedy, so.
Because that was only her second movie. Cause remember, she just had the one. I forgot the name of it.
Well, no, third.
The Hate You Give, and then The Photograph, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, fourth then.
Oh, Little. Yeah. So.
Oh, Little. Yeah. Yeah.
So she's had a good amount, but yeah. So again, it's a Netflix film, so if you got the subscription, check it out. Kill a couple hours. The next thing I saw was a movie from about 5 years ago, and it was on my radar then, but I never got a chance to see it, called Mr. Holmes. And this is a movie starring Ian McKellen as an aged Sherlock Holmes in his early 90s, and it kind of follows what happens to the world's most famous detective years later. And he is suffering about a dementia, and he's looking for solutions there. And he's also trying to recollect his final case that was part of his detective agency from so long ago. And along the way, he's staying with a housekeeper and her son, and he becomes friends with the son. And the son kind of helps him recollect what happened during this final case. And overall, I liked it a lot. It's definitely a different type of movie. You're dealing with more of a drama, and I'm not too advanced in my Sherlock Holmes knowledge, but it was interesting to see, what happens to these famous people. And again, it's a fictional character, but a different side of the picture where he's old, he's not at his top of his game, but he still has a little bit of edge. And Ian McKellen does a good job throughout. This one I did see on Canopy. So again, this is the free app you can use your library card to watch movies with. But if you're looking for something to kind of get your mind off of things, I definitely enjoyed this. And then finally, I tapped into the first couple episodes of the newest Netflix series, Space Force. And if you haven't seen it yet, it's a comedy series, kind of like, and I know a lot of people are calling it like The Office, but it's that kind of vibe. It has Steve Carell. It stars John Malkovich, Ben Schwartz, a lot of characters. And it was created by Greg Daniels, who, of course, helped create The Office, American Version, King of the Hill, Parks and Rec, and a lot of those likes. Overall, I will keep watching it. It's got a few rough patches. It's not as funny as you expect it to be. Steve Carell almost plays the same character as Michael Scott, but he's not quite the same and not quite idiotic. Episode 2 kind of had a good setup, and there were moments where I was laughing a lot throughout it. But overall, it's kind of a fill-in. And I know I hate to say this, but it's fitting that Netflix mold where you're not expecting, this is not going to win any awards per se. But I will say that it does have potential, and I will be finishing it up.
Okay, nice. What you, Chike?
So I saw 2 films. Well, actually, the second one is more of a series. The first one is The High Note with Tracy Ellis Ross and Dakota Johnson and Ice Cube.
I was going to watch that, but when I saw it was $20, I said no.
Said, go back to the queue.
So you have to pay for it, Steve, and then join our segment, and then you can write it off as a business expense. That's
very true. Very true.
So I enjoyed it. I don't know, again, if it would be a film that I would have enjoyed seeing in the theater, just simply because I've spoken many times before about gearing up, getting dressed, going out, and then going to another place to watch it. It was great for watching at home. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was thoroughly, thoroughly pleasing to finally hear Tracy Ellis Ross sing.
Yeah.
And she can sing. Her voice doesn't sound like what I thought it might sound like, but she does decent. I mean, I enjoyed the music. And there are some feel-good songs in this movie. Dakota Johnson does an awesome job. And it does a really good explanation of 2 women at 2 different parts in their life with their dreams. Tracy Ellis Ross, of course, her character is middle-aged and living her dream and still finding ways to make it sustain time. And Dakota is basically just starting hers with a thirst and a hunger for more, and how those 2 come together and they can help each other out. It's a beautiful story. You should check it out. Some fun facts in there about music, because Dakota Johnson's character is a music buff, and they let some music information spill out. It's pretty educational. Check it out. It's worth the watch. But again, like Steven said, $20. It is an early release because it was supposed to be in the theater. So it's direct to streaming. If you're bored and you have $20 that you want to spend, I recommend it.
Yeah.
The second film was a doozy. This is Netflix's Filthy Rich Jeffrey Epstein story. Listen.
I watched that.
Heard it was intense.
Wow.
It shows you what money can get you.
It shows you what money can get you, but I could not help but to compare him to Bill Cosby in the sense that they both have the means and access to do things, but how the law treated them so differently when it came time to make them pay for what they did.
I thought about that too.
It's just, I don't even really know how to phrase it other than that. You have to watch it. You have to watch all what this man was into. I do not believe that he killed himself. I believe that he was murdered. I believe that he knew where bodies were buried, so to speak. He knew information. and what he was into, he purposely kept tabs on other people. So other people knew that he had information on them. So you can do with that what you will. But I highly recommend it. It was deep. It's going to be shocking. It's eye-opening. He basically abused children most of his life, basically, and got away with it because he had money. Check it out. It's definitely something to watch.
Yeah.
I think that certain people, when they have the means and the finance, you know, and they have access to the world, they get bored and they just start doing things because they can.
And what was interesting about that is that, like, he paid off the system. Like when he was on probation, and he was still flying or house arrest. He was flying around New York or hiding in the cars, you know, his SUVs to pay him. I mean, that he paid. And that one private investigator that was following him, remember he was coming out that building, he said, "Say cheese." And Jeff kind of looked up. I mean, he was living life like, what's it to me? You know what I mean? Regardless.
Now, how about when they went to go do the raid? They went to go do the raid, and they got to the house, and he didn't remove everything because he removed everything. A tip that they were coming. Mm-hmm. He took everything out the house.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last show that I watched, or I have been watching, I think I told you guys I was watching Kingdom. It was a direct TV. It was a direct TV series, and they finally put it on Amazon Prime. And this show was between 2014, 2017, I believe. And it's since been over. It's been over for years. It starred Nick Jonas, and it's a really good film about a family who runs an MMA gym and just their lives and how it surrounds them fighting and keeping this gym open and dealing with the different fighters and their issues. It's really intense. It's really dramatic. It's really good. It's a good soap opera, like a night soap opera. And I'm going to quote Della Reese here from Harlem Nights. They got me all ready for a spot of orange juice, and it was just a swallow in the container. I watched season 1. I watched season 2. And I was about to watch season 3, but they removed it from Amazon Prime. Amazon, why'd you do that to me? This show is too good. I'm right on the precipice of ending it, and you snatched it off. Why? Please explain por qué. Why? For who?
Can you even rent it?
Tell me. Yeah, I did rent it. I bought it. I didn't rent it. I bought the season, and I bought the first one. I bought the second one. I finished the second one, and I went to go buy the third, and they snatched it off.
Yeah, I
wondered. The show was like super old. Why would they do that? Just the third season, not the whole show.
There might be I wonder if there's some kind of distribution deal or something in the season that's like technical that they had to take it down for a bit. Or, I mean, it could just be an oversight. Someone at Amazon accidentally pressed the wrong button.
Right. Exactly.
Amazon, get it together. Get it together.
Mistakes
too much going on out here for you to be taking people's TV away.
Right.
Exactly.
I watched a lot of stuff, but I will say the one I want to shout is Homecoming 2 with Janelle Monáe. Homecoming 1 was with Julia Roberts. This one, and at first I didn't get it, but it is super good. It's super good. If you watch,
I bet you see the unweaving. Yeah, the unweaving of everything.
Mm-hmm. Once you see
and
that,
I want to shout out to Julia Roberts for she's producing that. Okay. I when you see like a headline star in a television series, 9 times out of 10 they have something to do with the production, and they're just lending their talent to get it off the ground.
Yeah.
Much like what's the True Detective, that series on HBO, which Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson produced that, and they starred in the first series to get it going. And Julia, she jumped in the first one to get this one going. But I thought it was the way that they did it was beautiful because her character still lives on now, but you just don't see her. They talk about her, but you don't see her. Yeah. And I mean, how plausible is this? How plausible is that storyline in dealing with our military and post-traumatic stress?
Exactly. Yeah, really
repurposing soldiers.
Yeah. Well, real briefly, anything you plan on watching this week, Chike or Adam?
It's always a mystery for me, I will mention something, and I almost forgot. Right now, for anyone into film festivals, since there aren't any going on right now, There's the We Are One a global film festival going on from now till June 7th. And it basically is a collective of various film festivals, including like the Tribeca and Toronto International and other international ones. And you can go to YouTube and watch the videos, and there's shorts, there's premieres, there's all kinds of movies. So again, if you're a film festival person, you want to see brand new content from upstart filmmakers, definitely, it's free content. Check it out.
All right.
Hey, Adam, do me a favor. Can you tweet that to me, and so that way our followers can get that information and we can get it out there on Twitter for them?
Yeah, I'll send it out.
What about you, Chike? Anything that you know you'll be on your radar for this week?
I forget the name of the film, but there's a film on Netflix that I want to watch starring Colin Farrell and Nicole Kidman. It looks pretty interesting, and I'm only interested in it because of the actors. I love Nicole Kidman as an actor, and I love Colin Farrell as an actor. I just want to see them two together and what they will probably do.
Oh, the killing of a sacred deer.
That's it. And it sounds weird. It's like titles like that draw me in.
Yeah, it's the same guy. I think he did The Lobster, and he did.
Did he do The Lobster? Because that's one of my favorite.
He wrote The Lobster, and then he also directed The Favorite, that movie from a couple years ago.
I'm in. I'm in already. I already know I'm gonna like it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for letting us know what to spend our time watching, and even if you pay $20 to watch. And have a great week, and we'll talk again next Monday, okay?
All right. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely.
All right. Right back after this.